Welcome back to the Tree Surgeons podcast. Today I've got Nick Wilson back for episode 2 from the Green Line Arb app. And I love this app specifically because I love anything that helps our industry. Anything that's going to add value, make our lives easier, safety, tip sites, finding staff, all of the above. And Nick's going to give us some updates on where the app's at the moment. I know there's a new version that's been released recently. So it's great to have you back on. How are things going?
Thanks for having me.
No worries.
Starters. Yeah, it's going really well. We've got a new version coming out, and recently we've gone back to the drawing board a little bit.
Yeah.
Realised we have been trying to be too much for too many. And we're going to do less but better.
Yeah, less is more.
And just really jump into what's flowing and double down on that, put our attention into that aspect. And I think mainly, for those that haven't heard of what the app is or what it looks like, it's basically built around a mapping system. And our main core feature is drop points for getting rid of waste off of daily job sites. And that has taken off since the word go.
Yeah.
That was really popular.
Yeah.
And a lot of people associate us with that, really, where we were trying to cover 4 or 5 bases: recruitment, services, safety and waste. And then also the media aspect of it as well, sort of upskilling with toolbox talks and things like that. We're going to cut out or lessen our approach on recruitment and services and really go in on waste. We're keeping the safety feature in because I think anyone, if you're on the waste side of the network or the tree surgery side, you can benefit from that.
Yeah.
And then there will still be a media presence within the app, updates from the industry, interesting things to read about, your podcast, elements of it like that.
Yeah.
But the core focus is going to be repurposing green wood materials, getting them offloaded from tree sites to end users.
Yeah, nice. So what are the benefits of just being able to have a tip site down the road?
I think there's quite a few, to be honest. And I think probably the main one is time, which equals money.
Always.
Really.
Yeah. Yeah, you got 3 blokes in a van all earning decent money.
Yeah.
Time is everything. I say they are the people that make you the money at the end of the day.
Yeah.
They are.
I think probably the top element, priority or benefit is time, because everything else factors from there, because then you've got stress and money and everything that comes under that.
Yeah.
But probably the leading thing that we're saving is time.
Yeah.
When we're thinking about a tip site down the road, it doesn't really, I always had my main tip sites that I'd use that were in my mind that, okay, it's going to that one, which is probably a half an hour round trip or an hour round trip or something.
Yeah.
But taking that out of it and being able to be a bit more agile with what you're doing on site. Okay, you might be able to plan ahead or plan a week ahead even and call ahead on those drop points and go, okay, we've got a load at lunchtime. We can get ahead on 4 or 5 jobs instead of being in the truck thinking about, oh, we're filling up, we need to get rid of this. Often, the most experienced guy on a team is the climber that also does the driving.
Team leader, climber, driver,
goes out
saw
with
sharpener.
Yeah. So they're going out with less experienced chaps or girls that are left on site guarding tools instead of working. When the truck disappears, they've got to be on site watching the chipper on the driveway. So everything stops, doesn't it? And I think that picking that up first and foremost is that you can keep a job running quite efficiently if someone's taking it from 5 minutes away.
Yeah.
I think there's a big efficiency element to it. There's also a marketing element that I really want to stress. It's a lot of things that are coming out of the woodwork now. We've been going for a couple of years.
Well, this is the great thing about everything. It's like my mastermind that I started. Day one, it was a WhatsApp group and a Zoom call every month. 3 years on, it is now like a multi-product base with so many touch points for people involved on it, so many Zoom calls, loads of support,
Yeah.
and it just evolves. And it's like everything, and like business should evolve, and like anyone that's got their head screwed on, their business will always be improving.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing with this app. You've tested it, you're doing it,
Yeah.
and then now you're evolving it, which is, I mean, I love that.
Yeah, I think any business, like you say, as you progress, stuff comes out of the woodwork, but you have to keep your North Star in sight, don't you? Because
100%.
it's so easy to go off down a rabbit hole. And
it is.
And that's what we've realised is actually we started out with trying to push too many pieces up the board. And now, so we're just refocusing. But yeah, I think now that we've learnt a lot, it's not necessarily, nothing's lost in terms of that experience.
Yeah, 100%.
And there's value in everything we were doing. It's just where we want to put our energy.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the learning from the drop point element and what the feedback we get from tree surgeons is not just a benefit in dropping waste. It's actually being connected with the communities that are out there in terms of they're turning up, they're seen as gods because they've turned up with a load of wood or a load of wood chip that they want. And then it's, can you have a look at my trees?
Yeah.
My neighbours needs a tree surgeon. And so they're getting jobs out of being connected with people through dropping. And I think there's a huge benefit in either if you're a one-man band, being connected with people, or if you've got your teams out there with dishing out cards every time they're dropping off, you can be growing your business at the same time.
Yeah.
I did a post on it recently about word of mouth, and my dad ran a business for donkey's years and hardly ever advertised. Everyone knows word of mouth is the strongest form of advertising.
Yeah. The amount of times that you're in a tree and then someone next door goes, oh, can you come and look at my tree? They've not once checked your website. They have no idea what accreditations you got. They don't even know if you're insured.
Yeah.
But because you're there, the trust, they can see you. They can see, and everyone makes a judgment and goes, that guy looks right.
Yeah, and they've also taken their neighbours' perspective.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this guy's right. Yeah, they're doing what they say they're doing.
I like my neighbour.
Yeah.
I trust my neighbour's made a good judgment call.
Yeah.
I've seen these people are all right.
And generally those jobs are the ones where you go, they're not getting any other quotes.
Yeah.
They're like, oh yeah, it's 800 quid. Oh yeah, cool. Yeah, when do you want to do it? You're like, shit, we should put another 300 quid on it.
I've done jobs where I've literally gone down the road and done job after job where the neighbours come out and gone, oh, why are you here? And I know why we're here can be quite a negative thing, but when you've got a spare afternoon, it's the best thing you want to hear, isn't it?
I always tell people, and I get a bit of resistance from people, I'm always like, if you're doing domestic tree work, you should be flying all around all the road you're on. People go, oh, flyering's flying. That's a bit, that people don't flyer, and that's what those other people in our industry do that aren't very good at what they do. And I'm like, no, that's just you just marketing.
Yeah.
It is just marketing. Flyering is like the easiest form of marketing. So why wouldn't you do it? Especially if your guys are driving around sign written vehicles and dropping chip off, especially if you go and drop it off an allotment, think how many people are using that allotment.
Yeah.
Like how many gardens are in that allotment? Hundreds in some places.
It's such an odd thing because we all give our money, our hard-earned cash to online directories and magazines and banners and things like this. We've got no real way of tracking the return on the investment.
We're talking about allotments, the benefit of flyers and being on the job and then putting our money into directories and stuff.
Oh yeah.
And no return.
Yeah.
So with the update, how is that going to change is there specific changes to what you're doing with those tip sites?
Yes. Currently, it's multifaceted. You've got a map for recruitment, for finding people. You've got a map for services. You've got a map for job adverts. And what we're going to do with those is take them off and probably run them. If people want to run job adverts or service advertisements, that can go through a sort of more of a media approach.
Yeah. Sort of feed or something like that on a...
Yeah, but it would be web-based and more content-based.
Yeah.
I think everyone's cottoning on these days that there's no form of advertising like content.
Yeah.
And I think that is really powerful in those spaces as well for services and recruitment.
Yeah.
But so we're going to center the main map around drop points.
Yeah.
And so it will just be very simple. Anyone can come in and see what this app is about.
Yeah.
It's not so confusing. And basically there's some tools within it that have slightly changed for version 1 of this new release, where you can scan the map, they'll load as you go, which we were not struggling with, but we hadn't quite solved in the previous one. So we got the feedback all the time of how do I search out of area, and you could do it, but it was a bit tricky.
Yeah. So you're just making it easier to be able to search and keeping it really slimlined to tip sites.
Yeah.
So there's no confusion of other stuff that's popping up in there.
That's right. Yeah.
I love that.
So then we can go deeper into that feature and introduce more icons, get more specific with what the drop points want, who they are, what kind of service they're providing.
Yeah.
So there's a two-way thing, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we're telling the owners, the landowners, the drop points, that it's not a passive thing from their perspective. Whereas in the past, they would chuck up a drop point and that's it, even forget about it. And that's not the way to be dealing with our tree surgeons, where we want them to be actually putting effort into what they're doing, making sure that they're open long hours, that they're picking up the phone or they're answering text messages, that the access is good, that they're available to take at least a metre squared of material.
Yeah.
That they're not going to mess around because they won't get the result. Tree surgeon gets annoyed, goes elsewhere.
They do, because they just go, I've had it before when we used to use the Arb Talk one, and you speak to someone, they don't answer, and they say, oh yeah, drop it along, and you go, guys go, it's a lock gate, and they're like, oh shit, I completely forgot, I'm on the school run, and then you're like, fuck, this is not saving me any time. So it needs to have that filtering of that. How do you find tip sites? Like, how do people come to you? How do you find them to add to the app?
So basically word of mouth.
Yeah.
It tends to go wild on social media when people put up they've had a result.
Yeah.
So they'll share that within their local community page or something on Facebook. This is how we see the pattern, where someone will go on and check out Green Line Arb, I've just received a load of hardwood or a load of wood chip on the allotment or something. And then the server goes mad with sign-ups, which is amazing. So we don't necessarily have to go after them. It's self-perpetual.
And then once someone says, hi, we want to be a tip site, you then speak to them after that?
So they go straight through to the portal, fill in all their details, sign in, create an account, fill in all their details, their availability, their drop instructions. And then there is going to be a paywall introduced to the portal, because basically, again, making sure our points of quality, that they're kept up with, that they're maintained, they're not forgotten about, and then, oh, I've moved house or something like that. That there's that element of investment into you are getting a material out of this, you understand the value of the material, and you're willing to be an active part of Green Line. Yeah. So, yes, they'll go through a paywall, they'll upload their points to the map, and then they can log in and out and set their points to inactive if they've received a drop. Get a bit more hands-on with it, because there's nothing more annoying when you're phoning around drop points and they say, oh, I had a load last week, I don't need it anymore. And if you get that enough times, it can get a bit frustrating. Yeah. So just bringing them more into the picture, building more features for them to take control, which in turn obviously helps our tree surgeons. Yeah. Yeah, that's that.
And then I've used the tip site thing a lot. I've not used the location point for if someone has an accident. I don't know much about that. Can you tell me more about that and how that works, just so I can get an understanding of it?
Emergency Action Plan. It's called the EAP.
Okay.
Basically the most important document you can do on site. Yeah. Everyone is quite rooted in a risk assessment. Yeah. However, Arb, who's collaborated with us on this, is an experienced first aid instructor and swears by the emergency action plan. Is that if something happens on site, shit hits the fan, this is what you turn to.
Yeah, you need it because adrenaline goes up. I don't know if I said this last time on the podcast, but I remember outside my house, someone getting run over when I was a teenager, and I phoned 999 and I started giving them my old address.
Yeah.
Because I'd moved a couple of years before. And then I like finished and I suddenly like adrenaline calmed down. I went, no, fuck, that's not where we are.
Yeah, yeah.
And like, it's that adrenaline, isn't it? If someone injures themselves, you're going to be fucking adrenaline. Like, you're going to need to think quickly. And when you've got adrenaline rushing through your body, you're not necessarily going to think straight. So then is that on the EAP, you feel that in the morning when you get to site, like risk assessment?
Yeah, so that will pick up your GPS location from where you're standing with your phone.
Yeah.
And like I say, we're keeping that feature in because it benefits both sides.
Yeah.
We've got a lot of drop points taking waste on land, landowners receiving wood processing materials with dangerous tools. And maybe the full EAP isn't relevant to them where they're not running teams. So they don't need the briefing page and they don't need the extensive site rundown. However, the first button gives you your location, your what 3 words, your nearest defib. You can look up your nearest hospital, which you can get a route to straight away. So, like you're saying, in the moment where you're panicking, you, even as a landowner or someone working on a bit of land, even if it's you're not on a tree team, you can hit that button and know exactly what information to relay to an emergency team, or chuck the casualty or yourself in a truck and drive straight to a hospital, which is probably the best way sometimes.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, that's something that we're passionate about keeping in as a feature. And then, yes, have we spoken about the media element?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. So tell me more about that.
So basically, we want to keep people informed, entertained, updated with what's going on in the industry, and found the best way to do that is through content, video and articles, but running it through the app where there'll be a sort of banner carousel across the bottom of the screen.
Yeah.
And you'll be able to select interesting things that are coming up and being refreshed each month. So then there'll be upskilling for the teams or safety bulletins or toolbox talks, that side of it. But there'll also be entertainment. We want to do a lot more content ourselves and writing with brands and getting out into the world of ARB and relaying that information to the wider audience.
Yeah.
But also from, again, the other side of the network, bringing them into the fray a bit.
Yeah.
Where we were so one-sided, this is a tree surgeon's app. Actually, it's a tree contractor's app and someone that's working with the material.
Yeah.
So I think I did a planting day recently with a Euro forest, and I did a planting day recently with Earthwatch Europe.
Yeah.
And they basically are growing tiny forests in urban areas.
Nice.
Really cool.
Yeah.
And helping with carbon footprint and putting green spaces into built up cities and things. And basically put a bit of content out about that, and the tree world loved it.
Yeah, nice.
And I just thought that was amazing, that actually what's going on with the material, or what's going on with that sort of what happens after we're cutting trees down, because they're using wood chip and everything to grow the material and the trees in. But it's not all about thrashing lumps off trees and watching felling and all the kind of like hardcore element of the job. There's so much interest in what's happening to the material, and there's so many clever people in our industry that are really creative and turning blocks of wood into amazing things and furniture. And
there's a guy, Andy O'Neill, from up in Scotland. He's in our mastermind, and he is all pro this, and he does a thing where he takes wood out of sight. He will then turn it into furniture, but then he like marks the furniture with what wood that is, how like roughly how old it was, whereabouts it came from in the area, and also he then gives the people's tree. He gives them a certificate to say your tree has been turned into this, because it then lowers the amount of carbon that's put back in, and they also get the opportunity to buy back the bench or whatever, which I don't know how many people do that, but he's super passionate about that.
Yeah.
Like super passionate. We did a whole call on this on our mastermind, and the only tricky bit, and it all comes back down to fucking money like it always does in our industry, that to remove larger lumps these days, it's not as cost effective to remove larger lumps, whereas a lot of people will just get larger lumps just going out and this just all going to biomass because you get paid for it again, it's done, you get paid more. But there certainly seems to be more of a movement going towards that. People are starting to wake up and going, okay, this planet we're on, it is just a ball of flaming rock that's just going through, and that like we need to look after it. Like it's like people are starting to look at it, and the jobs we're in, like tree surgeons, you're right, are super passionate about trees and smashing trees down, and they love the adrenaline. But at the same time, like we've got a lot of people who got into trees because they love the outdoors and they love nature, so there will be more interest in that.
Yeah, definitely. And my brother's done some lovely projects with. He's been the one to work on the tree, and then taken that wood back and turned it into some rustic furniture or even some fine artistic work, which is just so nice. And I know he's got a contract recently to actually give that the person is rebuying that bit of material back in furniture form to have in their house. It's just such a lovely thing to do. But even on the smaller scale, people are repurposing wood in all kinds of different ways, not just chucking it on the fire, which is really great to learn about. And that's the kind of thing that we want to put back through the media hub of the app.
Where... Do you know what? I've just had an idea. Not an idea, but just while you've been talking there, we get daily probably at least 3 or 4 calls a day, people for asking for wood chip.
Yeah.
If we get people asking for wood chip, just give them like Green Line Arb app. I haven't even thought about that. To know, like we've been talking and we use your app, and that hasn't even crossed my mind then until we were just chatting. The amount of people that are now looking for chip and wood to repurpose and do, that's gone up. Like I used to get calls, but we get, I mean, since I was in the office earlier, we're in the office now, but I was in main office earlier and we had 2 calls in an hour looking for wood chip.
Really? Wow.
We seem to get it every day, emails. Yeah. So we just go to Green Line Arb.
Absolutely. And obviously, like you're saying, everything costs money, materials cost money, composting, the sort of finer, higher grade wood chip costs a lot of money, firewood costs money, and people are cottoning onto that and realising that, hang on a minute, there's a mutually beneficial thing going on here. And that's where Green Line sort of steps into its element. But the gardening benefits, and this is stuff that I'm learning of using wood chip, and why people are so keen on getting it is amazing. The arb chip mulch that can be used on the garden is so beneficial, putting nitrates and nutrients back into the soil and helping moisture retention into the garden and soil and everything in hot climates, like hot seasons.
Yeah, it's going to be hot over the next few weeks.
So having mulch over the garden really helps the gardeners. So there's so many benefits, and then composting as well, and obviously the wood, being in contact with people that are taking wood and seeing how much they're saving on their heating bills and things like that, just through having a consistent wood supply is incredible. I think it's like averaging out around $2,000 a year.
Oh, it's going to be huge. We do not put our heating on anymore at winter. I think maybe twice.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Like literally some days if I'm away and Sarah's like, we've got to do the fire, or she just needs to fucking warm the house up. But we literally don't put our heating on across winter. Yeah. We just have a log burner, run that. Yeah. We've got infinite amount of wood. I think people see that. And
it's ideal.
Yeah.
Well, we used to live in Wiltshire and we only had those electric storage heaters.
Oh yeah, and they're dear as well, aren't they?
And we didn't realise, so they're on full whack and you can't really control them that well. And we got, I think, a $2,000 bill after a few months. And and we didn't have a log burner, but if we did, obviously wood on tap, it's the way to go, isn't it?
Yeah.
So there's huge benefits there.
So we were talking about the media side of things, and that's how we got to where we got to again now. So the media page is just going to be more updates, industry, from all over, which I love.
Basically,
we bumped into each other at the Arb show, didn't we? And I'm not a fan of the Arb show anymore. it, and I haven't been for years, but this year I enjoyed it the most just because it was the best networking I've had in a long time of just seeing people. But I think I was only there for half a day and I don't think I really saw much. I just spoke to lots of people, including yourself. How did you find the show?
I found it actually really quite rewarding in the same kind of way. Just seeing faces in the industry that I haven't seen for a long time. And there's things that everything's progressing, but you're not necessarily aware of what's going on in different people's worlds. So it's nice to cross over and see where there's opportunity for collaboration.
Yeah,
I think we spoke about doing some stuff together, and people are moving in parallel. So joining the dots and going, oh, actually, this could be really good to link up on. There was a lot of that going on.
Definitely.
And the more and more I see a rounded perspective of the industry instead of just I go out and cut trees down.
Yeah.
I learn loads more about retail and about the sort of coaching element and then the machinery side of it and how different people are coming into the industry. There's loads more opportunity to see how people can work together.
100%. Yeah, I think it's getting more collaborative as the years gone on. Like literally years ago, I don't think the industry was very collaborative at all. Everyone was like, this is my world, everyone else suck off. Yeah, you run your world over there, but I don't want anything to do with it. And the collaboration is coming in more and more. I guess it's as the old guard starts to go and the new guard comes through and everyone's going, actually, we can work together. And that's why I like do this podcast. It's why we collaborate, because I just love things that are going to make people's lives easier and improve the industry. Yeah. The industry needs improvement all around for so many different reasons, but the more we can all work together to help have a better industry, like I say, a rising tide raises all ships. Yeah. Like a better industry, more money in our industry, more people understanding business, more people who aren't running their trucks around the whole country, tipping off a million miles away. Yeah. It's all improves the main thing, which is really one of the things that we've got a shortage of is good quality climbers, ground people, young talent coming into industry. If we can help make better profit in our business, whether that be by using one of your tip sites on the app or whether it be someone coming and sitting on one of my courses and learning numbers in their business, and that means it makes them more money, that is then going to turn into paying people more money being paid. People go, I don't want to go and stack shelves in Tesco's anymore. I want to go and do that cool as fuck job, which has always been cool as fuck, but it's never been enough money for me to warrant the amount of effort I need to put into it. And then we suddenly have a fresh amount of talent coming in and it helps everybody. Yeah. And less accidental business owners and all that kind of stuff. So
yeah. And I think the world's changing, isn't it? So you've got this odd experience of people. We're all the audience. The industry is the audience. But now people are realizing that collaboration and sharing that their kind of audience interaction is more effective to work together on than going, I speak to this specific person or these few hundred people, and then I speak to these few hundred people. Actually, everyone's quite interested in what everyone else is doing. Yeah. We all share an interest and a love for the industry, and we all want to know. We all want to, I think, get a rounded perspective. Although it may not be my area, I want to know what that robo flail does or something. It's just interesting to me because I'm in the game. So I think people are realizing that's where the collaboration comes in, because influencers didn't exist a few years ago, did they? And now they're everywhere. Yeah. And not only that, people, brands and businesses are sharing traction. So like you say, everyone can benefit.
Everyone can benefit, and the information needs to be out there, because I still see people doing arb work and it's like they're doing arb work 15 years ago still. Yeah. Like they've still got a van, a chipper, 3 guys, they're taking down a tree in someone's garden that they could get a Merlot to, or a Magni or an arb lorry or a piece of kit. And I'm like, that's 15 years ago. Like, there's no need to be doing that anymore. Like, even if you don't own that kit, you could probably got $3,000 on that tree. I saw this exact one the other day. 3 guys turned up. They all had 3 4x4s each. I don't know if they're a group of subbies. They took down a tree. They were there for 3 days in the end. I have no idea how much money they had on it. It was in a back garden, but it was a back garden that went onto a really big cul-de-sac where there was enough room for a crane or something.
Okay.
And I'm guessing they must have at least £3,000 on it, and they could have been in and out in half a day with the right machine. So like that need for access, that's not about the fact that I don't think anyone else should have won that job. Like they've won it fair and square. That's cool. That's their job. It was on my street.
Yeah.
No, there's no animosity there. But when I was walking past doing the school run, I'm like, what are they doing it like that for? And they all look very, very experienced guys.
Yeah.
And it's like that kind of information needs to be out there, and people having a look at going, what's going on. So any media that can showcase the kit, and like they could have made £3,000 in one day and been on to another job the next day if they'd have just picked the phone up or had a collab. Someone, I've got guys who've got Merlots, Magnies, Arb lorries with tree shears, 360 tree shears. I don't own any of it.
Yeah.
But I know plenty of people that will come in and do it, and you can go and earn £3,000 in a day and then be on to your next job next week.
Yeah.
And you could do £3,000 in a day and you've paid maybe £500, £1,000 to come in.
Yeah. I suppose there's an element of breaking the trend, and also you have a sort of, especially when I was working, you've got a small business, you've got a responsibility to keep your workers working, haven't you? It's jobs for the boys, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
So if you go and smash it in a day and they've got the rest of the week off, it's difficult to balance.
It is. That's the thing. And we have this conversation all the time with Mike, and it's always, we could draw this out over 4 weeks and then to keep the diary busy, or we could just get some kit and do it in a week. And I'm just like, just get some kit and do it in a week.
Yeah.
Like it's my job in the business to do the sales and marketing and worry about the work coming in.
That's a good point. Yeah.
And it's just, I get that complete because it's a mindset that you go, I've got this job, it's 3 days, 4 days on it. That's next week sorted.
Yeah.
Let's think about the following week and the following week and the following week.
Yeah.
But then you kind of look at it and go, okay, we could do 3 days, smash out one day, smash out £3,000, and then fit in a couple of cruisy days. My team members aren't getting fatigue, and they've got less chance of getting injury or something going wrong. The kits, like I'm not having to clear up this massive pile of sawdust all day.
Yeah.
And actually we could have a couple of cruisy days, everyone's safe.
I think you're right. It's just a different mindset.
It is a different mindset. It's
because
huge.
you either do this and you book out your weeks, you book out your months ahead, or you go, hang on a minute, I could work in a more effective way and put my time into growing the business or accelerating and bringing in more work for higher profit. So it's a different mindset, isn't it?
It is a different mindset, but the more you can churn work, the more you can get through it quicker, the more chance you've got of going back to the whole making more profit, all that stuff. And it is a mindset shift. But like you say, if people are out there hungry for the media and this stuff's coming out into your media zone, other places, Arb Show, APF, wherever, and there's more people looking at it and going, actually, how do we make things a bit easier?
Yeah.
I guess the biggest fear for every business owner is running out of work.
Yeah.
Like I think it's always been my inside fear is running out of work. And that's the mindset shift that needs to happen is, okay, if we've got 5 jobs here that could take the next 5 weeks, or we've got 5 jobs that if I got a Magni in that would then take 5 days, I can do 5 weeks turnover in 1 week. So I could maybe then make a ton more money. But what am I going to do for the next 4 weeks?
Yeah, yeah.
That's the bit of the shift.
Especially when the business gets bigger and you've got mouths to feed, the monster grows, it needs more food, doesn't it? And you feel like you're playing catch up all the time.
You do.
You just reminded me about my earlier marketing point.
Yeah, go for it.
In terms of running out of work. And we were talking about return on investment. So going from putting your feelers out into the world of online marketing or magazines or banners or whatever it is.
Which could be an infinite spend.
Yeah. And you're not sure what's coming in. You don't really keep a track on the return on that investment. And you'll probably know a bit more about this than me. I think it's somewhere between 5 and 15% marketing budgets for bigger companies, medium to bigger.
Yeah, I think I'm probably an anomaly because we don't do much marketing.
Okay.
Only because I've done a lot of my own internal studies on this, but majority of the work we get is through sales, through outbound rather than inbound. We do 1.2 million every year, and we spend about 1,500 quid a month on marketing,
Okay.
which is like nothing really compared to when you think about 1.2 million. So what's that in percentage? 1.5%? That's a month. So over
20 grand a year.
20 grand a year. So 2%. 2%.
Yeah.
But I would say you're right. Like in most companies, they're probably spending between 5 and 15%.
And there's this weird discrepancy between tree surgeons competing and trying to find work, and then no one can find a tree surgeon. It's odd, isn't it? Because when my business line was live, I can't get hold of a tree surgeon. Everyone's booked up for 6 months, and when can you come and do it, and all of that business. And there's so much competition out there, and all these tree companies that are vying for work and want the work, and no one can get one. So it just seems odd. But
yeah, I think most tree surgeons don't answer their phone anyway.
Yeah.
So the amount of people that we get phoning up, and they'll be like, Sonia, our office manager, will answer the phone, and they'll go, "Oh my God, you answered the phone."
Yeah.
And it's like one of the things I teach in my 3-day course. Like, I'm not teaching anything. Like, I don't have the magic pill or the magic formula. When people spend £1,000 to come on our 3-day course, some people I think, right, he's going to tell me the magic thing, the secret sauce, like the silver bullet. What's it going to be? Yeah. And I start the whole thing with get the basics right. And some of the basics is just answer the fucking phone.
Yeah.
Like, you spend 10-15% of your budget every year on marketing, and the first thing that happens is it rings through, it goes through to a voicemail, and you're lucky if you get a call back that evening, if ever, and you're just completely wasting money on marketing. So the first thing is just don't answer the phone, and the second thing is to be able to fit those people in. But I think a lot of it comes down to also people's anxiety again around the running out of work and what someone's comfort zone is for the amount of work they've got booked in. So what you'll find is you'll get a really good tree surgeon. I've seen millions of these. I say millions, because not millions, but I've seen loads of these come through the mastermind, and I've talked to on courses, and their comfort zone of booking in is they will not be happy unless they've got 6 months work booked in. Yeah. To me, I'm like, 6 months? If I had 6 months work booked in, I'd be looking at getting 3 more teams out and reducing that down. We're only ever really booked up a month or 2 in advance. Like, we're currently booked, what are we now? It's the middle of June. We're booked until kind of the end of July, and that's amazing for summer. Yeah. And I'm like, I don't care what's happening after that. I have no care, because the next month, generally a month is my comfort zone. Yeah. Like a month, if I get less than a month, it starts getting twitchy and you start going, okay. But some people's is 6 months. And that's why then we get this situation where someone goes, I can't find a tree surgeon because someone's comfort zone is 6 months. They want to have 6 months work booked in. They're happy. They know it. But again, that comes back to not being able to then be able to manage someone's expectations. Yeah. So I think that's probably where a lot of that comes from. One, most people get busy and don't answer their phone because they've got no one answering it. And that's easily solved these days by just having a call answering service you pay 30 quid a month for. Someone's always answering the phone. You don't have to even have an office manager. You can just have a call centre that answers your phone. Hi, HRG tree surgeons, how can I help? Someone will call you back within 24 hours. That's answered. They then get their stuff dealt with. They've dropped it, they're not phoning anyone else now. No. They wait for that call to come back. They've ticked a box, they wait for it to come back. You're not wasting money on advertising. Yeah. It's basic, it's simple. It's just knowing that you can do this stuff. Yeah. So anyway, sorry, we digressed slightly.
It's a great point. What you said about inbound and outbound sales, outbound effort, inbound sales.
Yeah, marketing is putting stuff out there and waiting for the phone to ring. Yeah. Yeah. Outbound sales is picking the phone up and trying to win work.
Okay, yeah. And tying in with what I was saying about word of mouth, of people having an experience of you, they've seen the neighbour get you in for a job. I really see using drop points as people gaining an experience of you, of your teams, of your equipment, of how you present yourself, how you turn up.
How you speak on the phone. Yeah. We turn up when you say you're going to turn up, all those kind of things.
Yeah. And you're directly in contact with your ideal customer. You're dropping material off to them. They're getting a direct experience of the staff that you employ. And I think that's a better way, or I'd love to run an experiment where people dropped all marketing and just use drop points. And not just the ones that they liked, but actually tried to get around as much of the community as possible.
Yeah.
And connect with as many people by using, oh, they want some wood, they want some chip, they want some wood. And every day get to a different person, hand out some flyers, hand out some cards, and tell people in your local community that you're here and you're available for work. I think that they'd be quite surprised with the return on that investment.
Yeah, I agree. As I say, I think there's just people that will see people and instantly trust them.
Yeah.
And quite often when you're phoning up on, say, Check Trade, and you search Check Trade tree surgeon, yes, you've got all the reviews. You can read through all the reviews.
Yeah.
But we all know that half the reviews are put on there are by your granny and your cousin and stuff like that. And, you know, how can you trust that they say they are? And they're just a company. They're just a name.
Yeah.
And they're printed. And you've got to try and select out. But you see somebody turn up and they smile at you. They say hello. You have a conversation. They compliment your lovely rose bush. You have a conversation. And they go, oh, she's guys.
Yeah. Yeah. It's judge of character as well, isn't it? Everyone's got that gut feeling where they connect with someone. And especially if you're out there and you're passionate, and going back to what we were saying about repurposing material and stuff, if you're using drop points, or if you're telling stories about, oh, matey down the road's turning bowls out of the cherry that I dropped out, and you've got a lovely cherry tree, it's all that connection with your customers that rings out, and they go, when someone's talking about it at a dinner party next day, they say, oh, I've got a tree surgeon, here's the card.
So, and that's the thing is, it's that person that you're dropping to. You might turn up there and they've got a completely clear garden of all trees.
Yeah.
And the mindset might be, they're not my fucking ideal customer, but it's all networking. I used to go networking to like BNI. And you'd sit in a room in BNI with, say, 20 business owners, and there'd always be an accountant, there'd be a bookkeeper, there'd be a printer salesperson, there'd be a HR consultant, health and safety, a business coach. And you could sit in that room and go, well, none of these are my ideal clients. But I'm looking for QSs and site managers and ARB managers and things like that. But it's the people that they know. It's like a spider web of people they know. It's everyone knows. It's like the 7 degrees of separation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Everybody knows somebody. And through that networking, I won a client that spent about 500 grand a year with me for 4 or 5 years.
Right.
And that was just through networking, because one of the ladies there, her brother-in-law was an ARB manager for a big company, and she gave me his number. And the rest is history. We won a load of work from it. And it's exactly when you're going and dropping off to these tip sites, you have no idea who their cousin, auntie, uncle, gran, best friend is. Like we've like Taylor Wimpey, my nemesis. I've been trying to get in with them for years. But you never know when someone's uncle could be like the main guy at Taylor Wimpey. And they're like, you know what, I met this really great company the other day. Yeah, give us a call. Like a lot of the work that we've won, like when I talk about outbound sales, is me picking the phone up and speaking to these companies. And I'm just a guy at the end of the phone. And it's hard work. It takes a lot of rejection, a lot of calling up, a lot of trying to build relationships. When I drive around and I drop into a site office to see a building site manager, it's a completely different experience. I could be phoning Bob, the site manager. He'll pick the phone up and go, I'm busy right now. I'll go and knock on the door of that, and there's suddenly Bob answers. He won't remember I phoned him at all. And I'll be like, hi, Henry HRG Tree Surgeons. How you doing? Do you want to come in for a coffee and a biscuit? And it's something about meeting people face to face that you can't get the same on social media. You can't get the same on Check a Trade or all these kind of things. You can't get the same on the phone. But as soon as you see the whites of someone's eyes, you shake their hand. As you say, you can make an instant judgment of, I trust this person. And actually, it's done me a favour here by dropping this off. And there's a bit of this and a bit of hardwood in there, as well as a bit of wood chip. Ideal, actually.
Yeah, you got the perfect in. You're not even knocking on doors cold, are you?
No.
You've been invited.
You're giving value up front.
They've advertised that you can come round.
Yeah, exactly. And you're giving them something. When you give something to someone and you build a relationship, they want to help you out.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you can ask them great questions like, just while I've got you, who else do you know that might need tree work doing? And it's like,
and if you're talking to your lads or your team leaders in the morning and saying, when you go to a drop point, here's what you say, and here's the routine. And you say, make sure you are asking questions. You're putting it in their mind, saying, if you know anyone, here's the card.
Yeah. And if you see a dead tree, well, have you seen that tree's dead?
Yeah. I wanted to cover something else that you might know a bit about.
Yeah, go for it.
Hit me. Team efficiency.
Yeah.
Because another benefit that's come out of the woodwork is running efficient vehicles,
Yeah.
fuel consumption
Yeah.
when loaded.
Yeah.
My experience of this when towing, especially towing and loaded for miles and miles, doing a big contract on utilities, we ran through fuel like no tomorrow.
Yeah.
And when we started dropping locally or not towing so much and finding a better way to offload the waste, our fuel just dropped.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's incredible the effect that it has actually on your bank balance at the end of the month.
Yeah, it's huge.
And I've been running the numbers a bit, and obviously payloads in vehicles, you're probably only looking at 1.5 tons on a 3.5 ton vehicle.
Yeah, I think these days, if you put, I think I was chatting to someone about this the other day. If you load your van full of tools, have 3 blokes in it, have a chipper on it that's like a ST8 or 280, whatever, and all your kit in it, you can fit about 300 kg, 200 kg.
Is that it?
Like nothing, depending on the truck. Because some of these trucks now, if you think about it, they come with a locker box. They come with a big arb body. Yes, it's alley, but it's still a big arb body that's got weight on it. So you just think, and it depends on the truck. Because we've got an Isuzu Grafter, and it literally looks like a 7.5 ton truck.
Yeah,
and you could fill it to the max, but it's just you're gonna be overloaded all the time. And this just comes back to Adam and Steve from Swift when we did the 7.5 ton and lorry podcast. Is a lot of that this is exactly what we're talking about. Not only have you got the fuel, but you're running a truck that you're braking loads more because you're heavy. Your brakes are getting worn, your tires are getting worn, your suspension's getting worn. Like the whole van is getting worn and screaming. That's what I would never buy again. I've done it. I'd never buy tipper off another tree surgeon. I just wouldn't, because you just know that's been run. That's the reason why someone's selling that tipper is because they've had a fucking enough of it going in every 2 months, have a load of work spent on it. It's going to be absolutely been screaming all day because the tree surgeons, they will be filling it to the max because again, time is money. Imagine if you just filled it to a quarter full and then you got to go and tip, quarter full, go and tip, quarter full, go and tip. Like you wouldn't make a penny. People will make pennies.
Unless you've got a tip site around the corner.
Unless you've got a tip site around the corner. Exactly that.
Yeah, pretty shocking payloads wise, isn't it? And I'm not preaching about payloads because I've loaded trucks to the rafters and driven them around for my career. However, I'm just bringing awareness to it because I'm hearing more and more doing this job now that I'm doing of people that are getting done by DVSA out on the roads.
Same.
Where they're pulling vehicles, and it's not pull you over, slap your wrist and off you go. They will escort you that could be 20, 30 miles out of your direction. So this is your day, work day, to a weighbridge. Then they'll weigh your truck, and if you're overweight, they'll make you unload. So they'll make you pull another vehicle out or 2 if it's really overloaded, to spread that payload between 2 or 3 vehicles. So what are you doing? Are you calling your mates on a work day? Are you hiring more vehicles to get off that roadside? So there's that cost implication. You either got to stop, if you're running multiple teams, you've got to stop their jobs to come and sort you out. It's thousands of pounds before you've even got into the fine. And then I heard one at the Arb show. I did a chat like this at the Arb show, and he told me that they'd just been done for 3.5 grand. They could do up to £5,000 per axle overloaded. And if it's worse than that, you're looking at court, prison sentences.
Yeah, losing your license, a whole lot.
All of that, because of the danger element that's attached to it. But so like I say, I'm not preaching, but I think being aware of that could be something that slows you down and costs you an absolute shitload of money is something good to just think twice about. Maybe when you're going down the road and the trucks,
you can feel it. Everyone knows it when they're overloaded. It's just, you know it. And the scary thing is, it doesn't take a lot to be overloaded. And then most tree surgeons will just fill it up as much as possible because it is time is money. Like our industry is based on that, your productivity. Yeah. That's what it is. So it makes sense.
They say a ton on the back of a vehicle will increase your fuel consumption by 30 to 45%.
Yeah.
Just mega money, isn't it? When you think about it.
Yeah,
and you're putting 100 quid a day in a truck, aren't you? Sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. And we're literally where we are in Southampton. We go up to South London.
Yeah.
Not as far as Brighton because we've got a good contractor in Brighton, and not as far as Bristol because we've got a good contractor in Bristol. But we go close.
Yeah.
We go an hour and a half all the way around from where we are.
Yeah.
And that's a long time to be driving.
And it's all those loaded runs in between that hour and a half that I think is really costly.
Yeah.
Because you're mounting weight throughout the day, and then you're doing all these stop starts through towns and villages and things like that, and it just eats fuel.
Yeah.
So you think about multiple teams over a saving over the day, the week, that is thousands, isn't it?
Yeah.
That we're into. So there's that sort of additional benefit to using local drop points. If you could be saving on fuel bill and gaining work through it, that's what we're learning.
Just win-win all the way.
Yeah, that's it. It's really surprising, sort of, you looking at solving one problem and there's other things that actually really take hold and have an effect. So it's great.
It's good.
Yeah.
When's it been released, the new update?
It's a good question. We've potentially, by the end of the week,
Nice.
ironing out a few.
This will come out in a few weeks, so it might even be out now.
Okay, yeah.
So,
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, good.
So Apple version is done. Android is in review currently. And yeah, so it should be, by the time this is out,
up and running. Cool.
And then it's going to be a case of just getting out and really, I want to get hands-on with people using the app and get into the drop points more and even linking the two. So going out to site, meeting tree surgeons. So I'll come out and meet your guys on site and see how they're getting on and how they're using it, and then go to the other end of that and see how the drop points are using it and get stories from both ends. And
yeah, if you like, I'll give you the dates, but not this month, but next month we've got on all levels. So all the levels, silver, gold, platinum.
Oh, nice.
All the masterminders, we do a whole meet up for everybody. We're doing a day. And if you're available, you can come down and do a talk.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
And we can, everyone get the app out and use it. And there might be 20, 30 businesses in the room potentially.
Yeah, brilliant. So we're always after different perspectives and people see things in different ways. And I think now we're going in on this one sort of focus. There's so many different ideas that are coming out that could improve it, and just little tweaks that will make it even more effective for people. So yeah, really exciting to
Love
be
it.
Intentionally going on one thread. The other element of it is carbon footprint, running vehicles around things and being able to run more efficiently for your tree business, but also having a wider effect on the planet environmentally. Everyone's becoming so green conscious now, aren't they?
They are, rightly so.
And as a business, if you can say, look, we drop waste locally to sites, we cut down on our haulage and our loaded carbon footprint, we're supporting the community that are using materials in a sort of renewable way. And then we're supporting replanting as well, because that's another element we want to support.
Yeah.
So a percentage of profits, or even taking material from producers, or that we can support planting initiatives.
Yeah.
So where they're using mulch and they're using the material, we can actually go in and support and get hands on with it. And just contribute to that circular economy.
Yeah.
So we're not just one element of it, we get involved in every aspect of it. And all of a sudden we've got an industry that is way more circular, is being conscious of its impact on the environment, and it's more efficient.
Yeah, which it needs to be. And there's still, I put stuff out on social media about having a less impact on the industry, on the planet, and people pie it off and just go, it's a load of shit and all this kind of stuff. But I think that's a small number of people. I think more and more people, and as I say, especially as the younger generations come through, like the younger generations are like, we weren't taught anything about the environment really at school, like very little. We weren't talking about global warming and stuff.
No.
Now this is like being drummed into them from a young age. You think in a decade's time, like more more people coming through. It's going to be more of a thing, more procurement officers, more government contracts going to be dished out on. And yes, people say it's tick boxing and greenwashing in some places, but whatever it is, the more that people will having benefit and general public having benefit, it will benefit the country, the planet.
I'm sure you know about this, but a lot of the larger contracts are having to be a lot more responsible and account for where the waste is going. So where it's not just, okay, the job's done. They want to know that whoever's contracted to do that work is loading that waste responsibly.
And it comes down to, and what I'm seeing a lot more now is, before it would just be the tier one contractor winning it, they have to tick the boxes. They are now pushing that down to the subcontractors, everybody, all the way down the chain. Everybody needs to be doing their part for what's happening with that waste.
Yeah, so looking ahead to the future, we want to be gold standard for, I'm using Green Line. That can be an answer that you give a contract that
it's known, like, this is how we get rid of our waste.
Yeah. So duty of care is on the contractor, and the way I run my business is effectively taking waste from a site, using Green Line to offload it efficiently and consciously, more locally in the area, to cut down on my impact of the environment. So yes, that's what we're working towards.
Good.
Yeah.
Love it. Good.
Anything else?
I think that's it, mate. I think it's been great to get that update. How are you finding talking to people about the industry at the moment?
So there's a lot of ups and downs on, I think, how quickly everything's moving in terms of health and safety and equipment. And I tend to hear a lot about that. And to be honest, whether the standard is any higher, I'm not sure, but our equipment and technology and everything is rapidly increasing.
It really is.
And I'd hope that the sort of education and the passion is going with it.
Yeah.
But it's quite shocking, I think. And I think I've only stopped working a few years now, really. I'll go out every now and again, but turning up on site and feeling very old school with the way I learn and the way I'm approaching jobs, or climbing specifically. Yeah. So, just seeing that rapid progression.
It is progressing a lot, but it's the things that it needs to, really, to be safer.
Yeah.
And we're using AI so much now as well. We record all of our team meetings on AI, and it just transcripts it all, turns it into a summary, toolbox talks, everything.
Nice.
There's just so much you can be doing. George Blake, who was in last week, he was showing me a little device he carries around with him. It's like a little pendant, and he records all his jobs when he goes out job pricing, and it just transcripts it. And then he's just got like everything he's been walking around talking about.
Oh, that's
it's really smart. There's just so much now that it's evolving, like the AI space, the technology side, and then the mech arb and all that kind of stuff. And like I say earlier on the podcast, like with the mech arb stuff, it's like you don't even need to own any of it to be able to get access to it. Like it's there. Like there's so many people now who have got the kit there, like Pacific contractors. We use a few of them. I know they're going what I call incognito. They're white labeled, like they're not turning up as ABC Tree Care. No, they're us HRG tree surgeons. They're just an extension of us.
Yeah.
So it's like people don't even have to have this kit. They just need to have access to it through somebody.
That's a smart business model for an equipment owner or an operator.
And it's a smart business model for us. We did a site 6 months ago. We had 14 grand on it. The subcontractor, I think it's 14 or 16. I think they charged us 8, 9 or 10. We basically made 6 grand out of having one guy there for 2 days.
Yeah.
We didn't have to worry about any kit, rams. Or we obviously had our own rams, and we got part of their rams to put into our own rams, but we didn't have to worry about any of that. And didn't have to worry about the machines turning up, anything going wrong, having the right tickets. It was just there, and you make money. So and they make money, we make money. It's fucking win-win.
Happy days.
This is the way it is. So good. All right, it's been great having you come back on. We look forward to
thank you
the
so
third
much.
one in the future.
Absolutely, I think we should make it a regular thing.
We definitely should.
Yeah.
And I'll be definitely getting some more content across to you for your media section.
Yeah.
And if you haven't got it already, go and download the Green Line Arb app. You can get it on Android and Apple,
iOS. Yeah.
iOS.
Available in the app stores. And check out the website if you want to know any more. Yeah, and watch this space for the updates.
Amazing. Cheers, Nick. Thanks,
Thank
guys.
you very much. Cheers.
Cheers, mate.